Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki Man Sai, and in today's video we're going to go through who is Liverpool's best midfield three. Now the true answer is it depends on what game, what the opposition are willing to do, what Klopp's looking to do in a particular match. However, as you note, in the summer we had 4 brand spanking new midfielders come into our lineup. Henderson out, Fabinho out, Wijnaldum long gone, Ox gone, Keita gone, Milner gone. Complete revamp. Thiago injured. We're still going to include Thiago for argument's sake for various reasons. He is still part of the squad. However, we're looking at the key names: Gravenberch, Mac Allister, Szoboszlai. Let's talk about Trent briefly. Elliott, Bajcetic, Curtis Jones, and Gakpo's played there on occasion. And Emperor Endo. Let's get into it. Right before we do, today is actually Valentine's Day in Japan, and your special loved one, especially the females, need to give chocolates to the males, and I have some Kobe Molotov chocolates. These are actually finest whiskey chocolates. Got a sweet tooth. And I know back in the UK it's the guys doing it for the ladies, right? But yeah, we have a special day for that. It's White Day next month, so I'm going to enjoy scoffing these down. And just while I'm opening these, the word for like is ski, and the word for really like is daisuki. But if you want to say I love you, it's aishiteru. Brandy and whiskey. Dark chocolate bottle. Creamy liqueur. Now that I'm totally wasted, let's get on with the show. So I want to talk about the best midfield three for this particular season. Obviously under Klopp's setup, it's what we know, it's what we've seen, and he tries to fulfill a function on the pitch. Now people can throw stats at you, right? Assists, goals, tackles, interceptions, all that kind of thing. However, stats only give you an insight into what the player has done historically, and that is influenced by the fact that the opposition they're against, when you actually throw this player in, the players that they play with. On any given day, players can outperform or underperform, but what is more important is the attributes that they have to fulfill a function. So if you played 100 games in a row, it's the attributes, their mentality, their natural habits, and what they're more likely to do in any given situation that counts for more things, because anyone can play above and beyond on a particular day. For example, Arshavin, 4 goals, unfortunate, right? But that kind of thing doesn't prove what he is as a player. An enigma, right? Like Darwin Núñez. So I've put in and around the midfield three what traditionally is known as probably our strongest three. Not many would argue with the front three. Obviously Jota can slot in at any given place, but Salah is more or less cemented. Lucho Diaz out and out left winger, and Darwin Núñez is our out and out striker for the big games. At the back, historically this is the strongest lineup. You could argue Gomez in any case, but this isn't a video about defenders and attackers. We're talking about the midfield here. And Emperor's Throne is a very, very adept name for this position, because this dictates our whole basis for attack, what we do in each transition, defensive and offensive transitions, and how the front two eights play as well. So let's get into it. So people have been calling for a number 6 in the summer transfer window, and we signed 2 players that are very adept at playing there. People thought Alexi Mac Allister could play as left-sided number 8, and Emperor Endo would be starting number 6. And they could be right, but unfortunately we've had to rotate them quite often due to injuries, due to international lineups, etc. Thiago Alcantara could have played that role admirably as well, but even when we had Thiago fit, he played left-sided 8, and Fabinho took that 6 role. So let's look at what each of them respectively offer in each position. Now let's go with Emperor Endo in here, because I would say the most out-and-out natural number 6 that we have in our squad. Even though Endo can play higher up as well, 6, he can also play full-backs and centre-backs, but traditionally he is a number 6 destroyer, pivot. He is an anchor man. He holds the midfield together, he can tell the line when to press, he can bring the offside line forward, he allows the number 8s to really progress and play their natural game. Klopp mentioned it, when Endo is there, Liverpool have an extra defensive layer, and in the mindset of all the players, we can have a more offensive mindset. Additionally, we can put more offensive players on there, because Endo does the job of a 6 and more. Not only does he cover the lines, he covers the passing lanes as well, but also he backs up the player in possession. Now if this was a Curtis Jones or someone in possession getting pressed, the outball is Endo, but even if Jones loses the ball, Endo will snap in straight away to try to reclaim the ball. So Emperor Endo is very, very good at being the shadow midfield player that retains our possession in tight areas and as an option as well. He's always an extra man, always available, and the club, traditionally, all the players in there completely trust him. You could see it from day one in training. They gave the ball to him to distribute, to rotate, to keep the ball going, to keep momentum going, and in game, in match day as well, they're looking to find Endo, because Endo is actually very, very good at breaking lines with a progressive pass. Now people didn't know this. He's very, very good at passing between the lines, as seen by passing to Szoboszlai, who smacked it in top bins. And Endo can actually run and do a little slalom dribble as well. He's not the cleanest dribbler, but he's quite effective as a dribbler. on that throw-in, where Havertz had to take him down and throw him, he beat the press by driving with the ball. That's something you associate with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, and progressive runs, breaking the press, is a very, very important attribute. Endo has the most experience in this position. He knows when to hold, but he also knows when to push up as well. Coming off the bench against Fulham, key equaliser there. Now you understand that Endo can actually shoot from long range. He's got a great curling shot, he's got a great driven shot, he can even shoot with his left foot. He's got a decent delivery from out wide as well. He is a multifaceted player that can do a bit of everything, but more importantly is that defensive mindset that takes away all fragility from midfield. And you saw against Arsenal in the biggest matches, against Arsenal in the FA Cup as well, domination, absolute domination. Emperor Endo is here to stay as a number 6, and he's a young 31. Tanjobio Metator, happy birthday for him very recently. Very, very effective. So he could be argued a starting spot in number 6. Now the alternative to him is sexy Alexis Mac Allister. So Mac Allister has taken some time for people to warm up to him in the number 6 role. Klopp always knew he had the attributes for it, even though he's not a natural number 6. But then he's not a natural number 8, and he's not a natural number 10. He's a jack of all trades in midfield that can do all roles. Think of like a João Moutinho or someone of that ilk. A roaming midfield baller who can do a bit of everything. However, when he came to prominence in the midfield, in the number 6 position, because obviously we needed a kind of 6 there, a dedicated 6 there, he's improved in this destroying ability, his snapping into the tackle, his tackling, his retrieving of the ball, his winning the ball back. Now, I don't think he covers the lines as good as Endo. He hasn't got that defensive nudity inbuilt because he is an offensive player. He is silky. He does like to play make a bit as well, roaming around in the midfield. But he can be disciplined enough to hold a midfield basis and break the lines with that progressive pass as well. And his passing range is very, very impressive. The ball over the top especially. Now, he plays the ball over the top more than Endo in terms of a direct ball over the top, whereas Endo mainly plays it to distribute. Instead of a through ball, it's to get the play into a new phase out wide, for example. So Mac Allister has his uses, especially to break down a low block and to receive the ball off the back, because Mac Allister is probably better than Endo at turning with the ball and playing forwards, going forwards in terms of receiving the ball in a difficult position. Clever, neat footwork to get in a position to pass. Endo shields the ball well, protects his body, wins the foul, breaks the momentum. He's a momentum breaker, Endo, and something that Endo has as a quality that Mac Allister probably doesn't have is the absolute crunching smash tackle. Now this gets the fans on your feet. This strikes fear into the heart of the opposition. If they have a loose touch or a bad touch or even a decent touch, Endo will crunch them right there, right in the nuts, right from behind, right in the knees and ankles, take them clean out. If they're on the break, Endo will stop the play, hold them up, take the yellow card. I haven't seen so often Mac Allister do the dark arts of this particular role, but he has been winning the ball a lot, so credit to him as well. However, Mac Allister is a very clean player, and he allows us to distribute the ball, rotate the ball, and receive the ball anywhere. He's like a Curtis Jones in 6th position. Curtis Jones can play his position, but actually he's been played more right back than defensive midfield. All midfielders have to rotate into defensive midfield positions every now and again. So Mac Allister and Endo are in with a shout at number 6, and I guess it's the type of game that you want. They could even play together like in the last game. We did win the last game, however it wasn't the prettiest game because Mac Allister also can play the 8 role. Now when Mac Allister is in the 8 role, what you find is you try to get him into these half spaces here so he can weave his magic. But the problem is, and this is the problem with Trent also in midfield, and why I'm going to make a dedicated video why I believe Trent should not be a starting midfielder, because people are still calling for that and chanting for that, especially with the emergence of Conor Bradley, is the fact that he hasn't got the most pace, Mac Allister, and he was really caught out on the right side of his 8 midfield. And the reasoning behind that is when you play right-sided 8, you need to cover for an overlapping fullback, whether it's Trent or Conor Bradley, for example. You're going to find occasions where Salah drops deep and you've got to be the high player. Now, if you hit Mac Allister in this position, right, in this position here, he's very limited in terms of taking the fullback on or cutting inside, because he's not even the fastest horizontally, laterally to get into positions for a shooting chance. He's not going to distribute it well with a left foot as well, as good as a natural left footer like Mo Salah. And especially from this position here, he's not going to bend. He's not going to bend it in a fantastic wonder ball a la Trent into the opposition third as well. But he can hold up the ball, he can distribute the ball, and he can play make the ball. But in order for him to be effective as a number 8, and I mean truly effective, he needs to have a consistent long shot to get a shot on target for spills or anything like that. He needs to cover the right back if he's roaming on the left side, cover the left back if he's roaming as well, and he needs to be able to find his way into these half spaces here. Otherwise he's wasted at 8 because he hasn't got the physical attributes to dominate. He's not going to really progress the ball unless he gets it into open space on the transition, on the break, and he's a free man. When he's pressed in here, he's going to find it very hard to wiggle away from there and to get away from the traps that the opposition set, because the opposition will set the trap where the full back, their number 8, and the winger drop back and close him in. And sure, he can worm and wheedle his way out of the trouble there, but you're looking for effectiveness and the ability to really cause offensive damage. And number 8 is an interesting role for him, but it's yet to be seen how effective he is as a number 8 in a Liverpool shirt, and we don't play with a number 10, so you can rule that out as well. Okay, so Mac Allister has options at the base and on the left, so versatile midfielder, definitely an option there. Endo would only be an option at the 6th position, so I'm just going to cross his name out for now. Now let's put in our fantastic Hungarian Dominic Szoboszlai, aka Domi Schlobbers. So he's injured at the moment, we definitely need him back. He was the outstanding midfielder at the start of the season. Now people are saying, wow, where did he come from? Signing of the season, why were no one else in for him? We pulled a blinder with that release clause. We still did. He is young, he can shoot from range, he can shoot with both foot, he's got fantastic ball striking technique, he's got cheeky dribbles, right? Little cuts inside, little jinks inside. He can make the half space to do what he needs to do, whether it's a shot, whether it's a cross. He has fantastic crossings. It's yet to be seen in Liverpool shirt just how effective his crossing is. He can be a late ball runner as well, coming onto the ball to strike the ball as well. They've actually trusted Dominic Szoboszlai to get him into progressive positions because he actually is hilariously fast. He's on the top fastest Premier League players this season, I believe, just running in a straight line, getting position, right? And he's tireless. He works box to box. He did fantastic in the lactate test, the fitness tests. He's well-rounded. He's got it all, but he's not the best dribbler a la a winger, which is surprising because he actually played on a wing in Leipzig on occasions as well. He's a true ball striker, a threat from range, tireless energy, and he's got defensive attributes and qualities as well. As he said to Konate, I can defend and score. You can defend, but you can't score. Come on, Konate, score. Shut Szoboszlai up. Szoboszlai, he's just so sexy right now. I think Szoboszlai is more effective on the right hand side because of the fact that he's got that bromance with Trent, allowing Trent to underlap, overlap, cover, but also get the ball in prominent positions to shoot across goal or actually shoot directly straight at goal. He can play on the left as well. Slightly different because if he starts on the inside left in the number 8 position, he's got less room to wiggle onto the right foot to shoot. He can shoot left footed, but it's not as strong as left foot. Lucho Diaz is more prominent at dribbling on the underlap, which means Szoboszlai has to go around the outside, and he's not going to deliver it left footed, I believe. He's more effective on this side, delivering it out from out wide. And I want to see him get to the byline and bring it back as well, because I think that could be a tactical ploy. Very strong, many physical attributes, dominant, quite big, quite physically imposing, hard to dispossess as well, pretty tidy with the ball, game intelligent, high potential. Szoboszlai is a great option there. And when you look at the other side, let's look at Curtis Jones. Now Curtis Jones brings the balance into midfield. You saw from his performance, right, at right back, just how much of a pure footballer he is. First touch, bang on, can use left foot, can use right foot, can dribble out of tight spaces, can play tiki-taka, can play 1-2, little chip balls over the top, receives the ball in any position, put back to opposition, back into the opposition, make the yard of space, clear it out of danger. He is the penultimate footballer as a pure footballer. He is elite. He is really coming to prominence, and really we need him to perform in the big games to really get us out of the cosh in terms of when the pressure and the press is on, but also impose his skills and ability, because he can do a bit of everything. He can dribble, he can shoot. His crossing is so-so. His through balls, haven't seen it as much in a senior shirt. He did a lot of through balls in the under-21s, but he can play every position in midfield, and he's very effective at roaming out wide and becoming the extra man as well, because he can actually drive to the line. He can beat a player of skill. He's got step overs. He's got a bit of techers around him as well. Very important, but he can actually fit into all 3 positions, but it's more likely on the left hand side where he can do his thing and he can just go into all positions of influence and relieve the pressure, because you always trust that when Jones is on the ball, he can receive the ball moving as well, and he keeps moving with the ball, and he's a pest to mark out the game. But his effectiveness is what's going to really make him stand out, and he's got to prove his effectiveness consistently in the biggest of matches. And I think having a base like Endo gives him the opportunity to really roam into the places of influence like Trent to do his thing. Now that's another option you got to think about here. We play a lot of this inversion of Trent into the base of midfield to distribute the ball, and in this regard it's probably better that Endo is here protecting Trent, because Endo defensively as a shadow, that's his top quality. He's got the mentality, the discipline and the game intelligence to cover any player, including progressive 8s or Trent, when they decide to do what they want to do. Mac Allister can do that, but to a less extent, because Mac Allister also wants to get on the ball to make the ball. Endo and Trent and Mac Allister is great options to have at the base here, but I don't want Trent starting here, and I'll give you the reasons why in a different video. I've repeated it many times before, but that's how it looks with that regard. Now we look at Gravenberch. So if we look at our midfield signings, and let's spell his name correctly, give him some respect on that name. Emperor Endo, the wise head, the veteran, the starting number 6, comes in as a ready-made player from Stuttgart, captain of Japan, captain of Stuttgart, leadership qualities which cannot be underrated, because he gives no F's at all. He will command respect from everybody, opposition and his own team, and he crunches opposition. He changes the tide and momentum of the game, so you know what you're getting with Endo straight away. With Szoboszlai as well, you've seen what he can do. He can play on a wing, he can cross a good ball, he can shoot, he's got physicality, he's got high energy levels as well. Mac Allister is the brain. So if Endo is the brawn and Szoboszlai is the beauty and Mac Allister is the brains, then what is Gravenberch? What is that? No, Gravenberch is the potential. So think about this. Curtis Jones is 23. Szoboszlai is 23. Is Mac Allister 24? I need to look that up. No, Mac Allister is 25. Prime and ripe. Gravenberch is 21. Think about that for a second. He's 21. He's got 2 years to get to that kind of prominent stage that the rest of them are on, to get to that kind of Curtis Jones level of development under the best coaches. Obviously, he's got 1 season with Klopp, but I'm sure the next coach will see the bundle of attributes in Gravenberch and mould him into his liking, right? So he's got a lot of attributes there, and you'll see when he's in and around the opposition penalty box area, he's got a lot of tricks to get a shot off. He just needs to find that consistency in that basis and create those playing relationships with the players to really establish him and know what he's doing. I kind of feel as though he's kind of caught in between. I need to press, I need to cover the lines, I need to defend, I need to be open for the ball without instinctively knowing his type of play for this particular team. Now that comes with training, and he's still making impact, and he's a great rotation option for now, but I'd probably say that Gravenberch isn't in the strongest 11, and I'm sure most of you agree. I think Gravenberch, what he brings to his team is the ability to receive the ball a la Curtis Jones anywhere on the pitch. He's got a very, very good first touch, and he's very good at turning the man. Like Thiago, he can turn the opposition, he can break the press. When they press him hard, when they press him tight, he can really turn. He's got those long legs and can go either direction. That's a really big attribute, actually. He can go around him on the left, he can go around him on the right. His passing is a little bit loose. He needs to be a little bit more incisive in his passing. But one good thing about Gravenberch as well is I think he is actually quite strong amongst our midfielders in and around the penalty area and working an opportunity to get a shot away. He seems to be quite prominent on that. I'm not convinced by his crossing, I'm not convinced by his long ball playing either, but the good thing about Gravenberch is he's really, really keen to settle in a team finally and get the appreciation and respect that such a youngster with huge potential like him deserves. Ajax, Bayern, and then Liverpool. It's a good roadmap at the moment, and hopefully the next coach can take advantage of a lot of his positive attributes, because I think he has a world of potential. The first touch is good, his passing can be more crisp and more incisive, his dribbling is certainly decent. He just needs to understand what to do when opposition sit off him, doesn't have to rush it, doesn't have to play the ball straight away, a bit of composure to his game and a bit of understanding with his teammates, and he will get there. That being said, make sure you subscribe as well, like this video, it helps this get seen by the algorithm, and I believe this tactical insight is always fun to do, right? I love discussing in the comments below and in the live streams as well. Thank you for watching live streams, by the way. Okay, so Curtis Jones, Endo and Mac Allister we've covered. Let's look at a different option here. Let's look at Cody Gakpo. So Cody Gakpo has been played as a progressive number 8 on the left-hand side, and the reasoning behind this is Klopp really much values balance. If you have Mac Allister, if you have Jones, and if you have, let's say, Gravenberch, for example, great ballers, great first touch, move the ball around, rotate and move. But who's the disciplined holder? Who's going to hold the lines there? Who's going to crunch in the tackles? Who's going to be the progressive runner that breaks through the lines? It's going to be a Gravenberch. Or, in the absence of Gravenberch, a Szoboszlai on the right-hand side. And if those two are not there, it's a Cody Gakpo. Now, when players play in front of our midfield, whether they put a low block of 4 or whether they put 4-5-1, and then you've got a 2 and a 3 in front of you, 2 defensive midfielders, you've really got to find a way to burst into those gaps to create opportunity and space to relieve the pressure off us and to get ourselves high up the pitch so we can congest the play and do what Liverpool do, the game pressing. Gakpo gives you an option on the left to break the lines with strong physicality and strong runs. Now, in the absence of Matip, who can break the lines, because like the parting on the sea, no one can stop Matip. You see him coming, you can't catch him anyway. He's got the slalom dribble, but Matip's out for the season. So Szoboszlai does it on the right, Gravenberch does it on the left, but Gakpo also does it on the left. And what Gakpo adds that Gravenberch doesn't have is that long shot, the ability to shoot from anywhere, because he's got a true strike, a great long shot. And when you have Gakpo and Szoboszlai doing that, you have the long threat range, which means you can hit the players high up, Lucho Diaz and Salah, the switches from Van Dijk and Trent, and pin the opposition back. And when the ball comes out into the second phase outside the box, you've got the long shooter who can hopefully hit the target, either score the goal or second phase of play, someone pick it up and make a goal outcome from there. Gakpo can do that, but he's also got the energy and he's got the willingness to track back as well. Now, I'd probably say Gakpo's a better defender than Gravenberch, and that's saying something. Defensive forward, which is needed. Ian Rush did it fantastically in days gone by. So did Dirk Kuyt, for example. All these players have a big part to play in defensive shape and press, and very, very valuable. Gakpo also adds another striking threat because as a natural striker, winger, offensive player, when the ball bobbles in and around the box, he's got that back to goal, turn and shot. He's just another body in the box who can actually add a lot of striking capabilities and offensive capabilities, which is why Dirk Kuyt played on the right wing sometimes, because he's still another striker on the pitch and he can make things happen, right? Gakpo also got a good delivery from the left-hand side and a good switch from the left-hand side. But I'd say that Gakpo and Luis Diaz need to get their head up a little bit more because they are capable of that. They're very silky ballers. So we lose something a bit if it's a combination of Luis Diaz and Gakpo because you miss a link player like a Curtis Jones on the left-hand side. Now, Thiago Alcantara could play number 6 or he could play progressive number 8. He came on against Arsenal, was injured. We don't know the extent of his injury, but he's very, very good at breaking the lines. So if you're talking about deep lying playmaking, ability to play through the lines with a long ball, like against Everton, that long ball to Sadio Mane, barely offside. It wasn't offside. Cross to Henderson, who left foot curls it against Pickford. We need a deep lying ball playmaker. Now, Endo has been cutting the balls really well recently, and Mac Allister is better than Endo at his long passing distribution, as is Trent Alexander-Arnold. But Trent is better when he transitions into the space as opposed to being pressed and on the half turn. Give Trent the freedom to press and cover him with Konate. It's a winning formula, which is why we're at the top of the table right now. Don't argue with that. I think we miss a deep line playmaker who can really control the tempo, switch the play, and beat the man on the turn with a dribble. Now, Thiago's little drop to shoulder turn is impeccable, which is why he always injures his hips, because his hips, shaking his hips, moving his hips, the opposition can't quite grab his hips. Maybe the love handles aren't, big enough to hold. He's fit. However, unfortunately, Thiago is out injured as well. So who can we have that has that kind of role? Well, it's labelled as Bajcetic, right? Because Bajcetic can do very much the same as well. But he's growing massively. He might have Osgood Schlatter growing planes. We are looking after him as we should do. But in absence of Bajcetic as well, what is left of our midfield options? We have Trent at the base, Mac Allister at the base, Endo at the base, who can do similar things. But I would say the Destroyer probably goes in as the first name. So I would argue that Wataru Endo is the more important number 6 for now, because he gives us a hold on the game and a basis in the game to play our game, to allow our offensive unit to do what they do with the discipline that he can drop in between the lines and allow the full shape. He can press, he can cover as well, and it really allows us to go high up the pitch with Endo's security there, because Endo is just supreme in front of our defense as a shield, as an aggressive hound of war. He's like an ultra Gattuso, a better ball player than Gattuso. Gattuso is very good for his function and made that Milan team a very aggressive unit as well, with Pirlo and Kaká and Seedorf. Seedorf, what a player, well-rounded. I love Seedorf. But yeah, I think Endo has to slot in at the number 6 there. On the left-hand side, for balance, I go with Curtis Jones because he can do a bit of everything, and you need that ball carrier, that water carrier like Wijnaldum, right? Water carrier not in derogatory terms, in terms of being able to beat anyone on the pitch. Be like water, my friend. Be flexible, be fluid, but like a tsunami, pow, you can smash. Bruce Lee quote. Curtis Jones, I think, goes on the left because he is very effective at connecting the midfield, the fullback, and Lucho Diaz, getting the ball to prompt positions and being available and rotationally transitioning so Lucho Diaz can come back and play make from a deeper position, allowing the overlap of Robertson as well. Curtis Jones is such a flexible, fluid player that I think you need his flexibility to allow everyone else to develop into their natural position as the game progresses and goes along. Which means on the right hand side, I'm going to put Domi Schlobbers because you need that long shot, you need that high energy level, you need that cover for Trent, you need that game intelligence. He scored a cracking header. Apparently he said that's his first header. Is that first header for Liverpool or of all time? I don't know, but that was a pretty cracking header. Great delivery from right hand side by Bradley, by the way. Which means that I think our strongest midfield to date, with all players that we currently have, excluding Thiago, because Thiago on form, top-notch Thiago changes this conversation, because I almost feel as though it'd be rude not to include Thiago just because of the attributes and the key skills he has that breaks the game. He has game-breaking skills that not many players can really have in their arsenal, and the fact that when you have these kind of players, and because he's defensively disciplined as well, and he's got experience and he's a winner and he's a leader, but you'd be hard-pressed to include Thiago in here because that is a formidable unit. The only reason I don't include Mac Allister is because I think Mac Allister is somewhere in between an 8 and a 6, and he doesn't have as much destructive potential as Endo, and as much defensive confidence driven into your teammates when he's on the pitch. He's more along the lines of, you get into the places, into the prominent places, and I'll find you in nice positions, in nice places. Whoever overlaps, whoever underlaps, whoever goes wherever they need to go, Mac Allister can transition the ball and get you into the right place where you need to be. Robertson cutting into here as well also is not the most able, because he's not the most technical, he's better around the outside, but the thing is we have a lot of good options in terms of flexibility, I think, when this particular midfield plays, and it's very exciting. So I will go with my gut and say the strongest midfield that we can present for the rest of the season in the absence of Thiago is Curtis Jones, Szoboszlai and Endo. But Mac Allister has a huge role to play, Gravenberch has a huge role to play. Bajcetic will come back and get cameo appearances, as will Thiago. I don't think we'll see Gakpo on the left of an 8 anymore. Gravenberch will be first sub in my opinion for these particular 3. And one name that I haven't really mentioned, it's Harvey Elliott. So Harvey Elliott really belongs on the right-sided 8 as well, in terms of being a left-footed option in the absence of Salah cutting into half space. So the only reason I haven't really predominantly mentioned Elliott, even though he's super trusted by Klopp, remember when we had all of our full-strength midfielders in previous season, Elliott even started at 8, and he's our most informed midfielder who can bring us highest in the pitch, and with game intelligence and technical ability do the most, because in this half space position he can find the header, he can find the right players, he can break the lines, he can do the little slide ball into Nunes or little slide ball to Salah, he can ball and play with Salah as well, and I think Elliott is very good there. But I think he has some development to do in terms of physicality, in terms of keeping up with the pace of the game. He's very driven, he learns, he loves to learn and improve, he really tracks back, but defensively he can be beaten on the turn or beaten with a bit of skill as well. So in terms of defensive acumen, he tries, but he still needs to improve his defensive output. And in terms of offensive output, he just needs to be more consistent, which is why he's #1 game changer from the bench at the moment. But in terms of the midfield function, I think Gravenberch comes on all the time. But in terms of game breaking and fulfilling a function, and if Klopp identifying something, Elliott comes on to make that impact, to get into the game-winning scenarios. The only reason I don't class Elliott as probably in our strongest midfield setup is the existence of Salah. So when Salah's injured, Elliott has a big argument to come in here, because natural left foot on the right-hand side, cutting inside, adding all the elements that Salah adds in a kind of pseudo-miniature form, because he's still young, very young. I think he's only 20, isn't it? That's outrageous. Is it 20, 21? But when Salah's on the pitch, 2 left-footers doing a kind of similar thing, kind of gets in each other's way really. I mean, he can slide Salah in. He always finds Salah, by the way. He's one of the best in our team at finding Salah into the right positions as well, because he knows what kind of positions Salah gets into and what kind of balls he wants, right? Because he's a similar player, so we'll get those balls there. But I discount Elliott for now, and obviously Fabio Carvalho is out on loan again. Hopefully does very well. Tyler Morton to come back into #6 position. It'll be very interesting to see how the new coach rates him as well. But our options in midfield are fantastic, and who would have said that, you know, seasons gone by, we had a workman-like midfield, a workhorse midfield. We always had to play Fabinho in #6, Henderson occasionally there, Henderson right-sided 8, very limited in that kind of role, especially when you're getting older as well. And the left-hand side, it could have been a mishmash of anybody. But now I think our midfield is super strong, and if we do get this lineup on more occasions than not, I think we'll turn over most of the teams, because it's very hard to outball for effort, especially for effort and for pressing and for tackling ability and for balling ability and to play the ball through the lines and for long shooting and to retain the ball in any position, and bravery, courage, heart and leadership. We have the beauty, we have the brawn, the brains of Mac Allister as well, and Gumba. No, I love Gravenberch. He's high potential. He's going to get there one day. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for the interaction. By the way, thank you for suggesting that membership feature on YouTube. I'll look into it as well. Any perks I can provide for you, really looking forward to doing that as well. Suggestions for new videos, always appreciate them. And once again, thank you Minasan for your support. The channel is constantly growing. I appreciate every single one of you. I comment personally in all the comments below. I try to comment against every single comment. Until next time, guys, Miyazaki Man Ichiban. Peace.